So you've watched my videos and decided you wanted to become a pilot. Well, you have come to the right place. Welcome back to Grant's Pilot Advice. Today we've got a video requested by a viewer, and it's a question that pilots and instructors get all the time. How do I become a pilot? Today, I'm going to cover what it takes to become a private pilot here in the United States. And I'm going to cover some stuff that maybe you haven't thought about yet. I'll break this down into different stages, including the prerequisites, ground training, flight training, and I'll even cover the check ride. So buckle up. This could be a bit of a long video, but let's go make you a pilot. Before we begin, I'd like to start off with some definitions. A student pilot is someone who is working towards their private pilot's license. They can fly solo with an instructor endorsement, but they cannot fly passengers. A private pilot is a fully certificated pilot who can fly passengers, just not for compensation or for hire. Before you even start flight training, you have to think about your own motivation. Do you actually want to become a pilot? Why do you want to become a pilot? What are you going to do with your license once you get it? It's a lot of work to get your pilot's license, so are you ready to commit to it? It's okay to not be motivated to do it, but if you're going to commit to getting your pilot's license, you got to put in the work. U.S. citizenship is not required to get your private pilot's license, but you must pass a TSA security threat assessment if you are not a U.S. citizen. If you are a U.S. citizen, you just have to verify your citizenship through passport, driver's license, etc. If you're curious, this can all be found in 49 CFR Part 1552. You must be at least 16 years old to get your student pilot certificate and at least 17 years old to get your private pilot certificate. You also need to be able to read, speak, write, and understand the English language. Now on to the medical. You need to have at least a third-class medical to exercise the solo privileges of a student pilot certificate as well as a private pilot certificate. You don't need it for dual instruction before you solo, but I would recommend getting your medical done before you start flight training, just in case you have any medical issues that require you to get a special issuance or statement of demonstrated ability. You may not be able to use your primary care doctor for your medical. You'll have to find an airman medical examiner, and you can find your local AME on the FAA website. Moving on to flight schools, there are two different kinds of programs, a Part 61 program and a Part 141 program. Part 61 is more relaxed, it's less structured, and you can move at your own pace. Your flight instructor will determine your readiness for your first solo and for your check ride. Our requirements for a private pilot's license under Part 61 are 40 total, 20 of those have to be with an instructor, and 10 are solo. A Part 141 program is more structured and contains an actual curriculum and structured syllabus which can be broken into stages. These stage checks will determine your readiness for your first solo and for your check ride with instructor input. For a Part 141 program, our requirements for a private pilot's license are only 35 hours total, 20 are with an instructor, and only 5 are solo. If there are multiple flight schools around you, go check all of them out, figure out what works best for you, your schedule, and your needs, and I would really recommend doing a discovery flight. It'll help you meet the instructors, see the airplanes, and figure out really how the flight school works. Finally, the big question, how much is this going to cost? Nowadays, I would expect to pay around $10,000 for a private pilot's license, but check with your flight school to see what their rates are. It normally takes about 50 to 60 flight hours, plus your time for ground training. Check with your flight school to see what your options are for payment, so you're not just paying out of pocket. Maybe you can take out a loan, or you can apply for a grant. With that all out of the way, if you're ready, let's start your training. First, let's talk about your ground training. It's very important to take your ground training seriously. You'll learn things such as federal aviation regulations, aircraft systems, airport environment, so on and so forth. Understanding all this information in the classroom will really help you when you're flying because you'll have a basic understanding of the theory once you step foot into the airplane. Plus, it will make your check ride so much easier since half of your check ride is just testing you on this information. Your ground training will be done as a home study program by yourself for Part 61, while you'll have ground school for Part 141. However, I still recommend that you do your own study at home using the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, Airplane Flying Handbook, Federal Aviation Regulations, and Aeronautical Information Manual, all of which are available on the FAA's website. Upon completion of your ground training, you have a knowledge test which you must pass with a 70% or higher. Doing better on this test will really help you for your check ride because you'll have fewer mistakes to cover with the examiner, and it'll show that you have a better understanding of the theory. Next, let's talk about your flight training. Here you're going to learn all the flying skills to help you become a pilot. Your instructor will teach you the basic skills and maneuvers, and then you'll start mixing in some solo flying. Part 61 programs are not required to use the syllabus, but a lot of flight schools will use a Part 141 syllabus. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to break your flight training down into 3 general stages. In stage 1, you're going to learn how to fly an airplane. You'll learn basic flying skills and emergency operations up to your first solo. You'll be practicing stalls, steep turns, slow flight, and landings until you are blue in the face. It may seem extremely repetitive, but it's so important to learn, practice, and master these basic skills before you solo. I'll make a video about this sometime in the future. Stage 1 will end with your stage check, which will determine readiness for your first solo. In stage 2, you're finally going to get to do your first solo. And let me tell you, there's no better feeling in the world than when your instructor finally hops out of the airplane and you get to fly by yourself for the very first time. After that, you're going to learn some more advanced flying and get some additional solo time. You'll learn performance landings, so your short field and your soft field landings. You'll learn about navigation, do some night flying. We'll get your dual cross countries done, and then you'll finish with your stage 2 check. Stage 3 will include a lot of solo time and getting you ready for your check ride. You'll do your solo cross-country flights, you'll review your maneuvers by yourself, and we'll do some check ride prep together. In keeping with the theme, your stage 3 check will be a mock check ride just to make absolutely sure that you're ready for the real thing. All right, it's finally time for your check ride. This is all going to be based on the Airman Certification Standards, or ACS. This can be found on the FAA website, and I would really prefer that you study the ACS before your check ride so you know what to expect in terms of knowledge areas and maneuvers. Remember, the examiner is not trying to fail you. They just want to test your knowledge to make sure that you're a safe and proficient pilot. Your check ride will include an hour of ground to go over areas that you missed on your knowledge test, plus other tasks in the ACS, and an hour flight to go over maneuvers, landings, and emergency procedures. Once you pass your check ride, congratulations, you are now a certified pilot. Becoming a pilot is a lot of work, but it's very rewarding when you pass your check ride. Once you become a pilot, you now have a license to continue learning. Good pilots are always learning, so don't get complacent. This is why I always end my videos with never stop learning. Most of all, enjoy your license. You worked so hard for this. Go use it. Go on trips. Go take your friends places. Even go see your house from the air if you want to. Use your license and have fun. As your instructor, I have full confidence that you can do this. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'm always taking suggestions for future videos. Leave a like on this video and share with someone who wants to become a pilot. Subscribe to my channel and check out another video while you're there. Thanks so much for watching. Fly safe and never stop learning.